Hi, coming here. I'll be discussing on the Amazon reviews for the methodology on how to have the data being explored. Technically, the Amazon book review, the data is pretty simple. The contents that it have is the stars, the comments, as well as the book URL. And because it is so simple, yet we believe that they have a much more potential to expand the data set in order for us to teach and to make the machine learning algorithm in order to let us know what to be understand in the data itself. As you can see that technically there's nothing much to be done on the stars because this is more on the users rating, and if you talk about a comment, it's about whether the person like the book or they do not like the book, or maybe it's just like okay or whatever thing, followed by the book URL, which is the URL of the book that have all these comment and rating, which was explaining earlier. So the question is, how do we make the machine learning in this case to extract or to understand the context of the information that the users are trying to tell the human? Of course, for human, by reading the comments, the stars, we can actually know whether the stars and the comment is does it match, or whether this is a sarcastic comment. Unfortunately, the machine learning does not have the ability to understand the context. If let's say the data scientists, or in this case our team, if let's say we do not know how to make sense and quantify the comments, right? How do we know whether these comments are effective, or maybe it's actually making an impact? How do we know the emotion? How do we know whether this is a positive, really positive book, or this is a negative book? So based on the our literature review, we did originally try to explore the natural language processing, which is the NLP. But after further checking, it seems that there is something which is way beyond, and we may not have the comfort of the time to get it done using the NLP. So instead, we found another alternative, which is by using the tidy text by the RStudio library. So in that case, we can actually use the online version, thanks for the internet, to show us, to share with us what type of word which is a positive and what type of words is negative. So by subtracting the negative value from the positive, we should be able to know and judge the sentiment of the comment. So in this case, I would say that the biggest challenge of our book review would be, how do we make sense of the comment, and how do we make the computer make sense of the comment? So in this case, we choose to use the positive words, the word count, as well as the negative word. Finally, the sentiment feature will be based on the numbers of positive words minus the numbers of negative words. So if let's say the sentiment is good or positive, there should be a positive number. If let's say the sentiment is a negative, which is overshadowed by the negative words, that will be classified as a negative sentiment. So one of the interesting thing is when we are talking about how do we change this comment into quantifiable, right? Of course, we do use tokenization. What we did, the most rudimentary thing that we have done to the comment is by creating a new feature, which we call it as the feedback based on the number of words, the word count. So in this case, we will actually clean up and making sure that all this data is pretty much readable in a way that all these punctuation as well as all the words will be converted into the lowercase to avoid any pattern recognition by the function that we are using. So what happened here is the strategy is after tokenizing the comments into multiple words, what we will do here is we will actually have two possible function. One function is for us to calculate the negative count of the word. One is, and another data set will be duplicate will be the positive count of the word. So what we did here is by creating these two sets here, we could actually get a duplicate set where in this case there's some work that needed to be done so that everything can be added into a consolidated data set. What we did here is by extracting only the feature, which is the ID and the negative word. After that, joining it to the positive data set table based on the ID. So this ID is actually generated in place of the comments or the books, because previously there's no ID. So in this case, the data will not be able to be merged properly. So this is the method that we actually use to make the data done properly. So conceptually, it is simple, but to do that, it is actually a lot of work. In this case, we have actually need to do two tables which are having the only difference is negative and positive. Extract the ID with the negative, join it to the positive table, and then we actually created a new data set that can be used by the machine learning. So to finalize it, right, this is actually the result that we get. In this case, we can actually see that the feedback, word count, the sentiment, the positive and the negative. So in this way, we can actually start applying our data set into the machine learning in order for us to know what's the context and then hopefully to gain insight on how does this book review really represent the data. So yeah, this is actually concluding the methodology to explore the data as well, to process the data so that the data modeling can be done.